Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm Charlotte Broadbent, and I'm the UK General Manager for Faire, and I'm thrilled to be here presenting to you today at the Spring Fair 75th anniversary year, and I'm excited to be sharing with you the Faire forecast. It's our guide packed with trends and data-backed insights, and it's a bit of a crash course in how to make trends work for your retail business and a bit later about what I'm seeing out there that is shaping the retail landscape in the upcoming year. But first, a little about me. Careers aren't linear, and my path into retail was definitely not a traditional one. Retail, as you guys know, is about hearts as well as minds, which always fascinated me. But I actually spent 10 years on the investor side, and I got to know the industry when I joined the board of Wyvale Garden Centres back in 2017. I realized quickly that I wanted to be in the arena rather than observing from the sidelines, and that led me to become MD of a German fine jewelry brand called Tamara Kamoli, where navigating international wholesale through the pandemic was a bit of a baptism of fire. Today, I lead Faire in the UK, and I'm responsible for our marketing and partnerships across Europe. That's me at Autumn Fair last year. Faire is the world's largest online wholesale marketplace for independent retailers, and we bring digital innovation to the industry to offer indie retailers tools that used to be exclusively reserved for major players. And probably more interesting than me, you can meet the team from Faire here today. We're over in Hall 3 on stand 3K30, or you can chat with Nick after my presentation, who is here to answer your questions about wholesale buying on Faire. Give us a wave, Nick. Thank you. So, what can you expect from me today? Well, I would probably get in a bit of trouble with my boss if I didn't spend a few moments talking about Faire and how we can help your business, but I promise I'll keep it brief. Then we'll dive into Faire's trend forecast for the coming year, along with some really interesting search data and examples of some really cool products that you can find today at Spring Fair, but also online today on faire.com. Then I want to really peel the lid off and chat about how to know if a trend is right for your retail business, and then how to launch it successfully. And lastly, we'll take a look at the market and share some of my learnings from working with retailers in my day-to-day and my predictions for the high street in 2025. So, a little about Faire. Faire is an online wholesale marketplace that simplifies how thousands of unique brands across home and gift, greetings, clothing, food and drink, and many more connect with retailers, with each other, to do business, grow relationships, and get more successful together. Here at Spring Fair is the best way to place orders right here, right now at the show. Hundreds and hundreds of the wonderful exhibitors you're going to see around the show today are available to buy on Faire, and you can just ask at their stand or visit faire.com/spring-fair to view the beautiful collection we've curated for you. Faire was built from a very straightforward insight that retailers need simplified ways to find and try inventory for their stores. This is the brilliant Jana. She is one of the thousands of UK retail owners that buys inventory on Faire for her physical store and online shop. She's got the Etc. store in London. Faire was designed to help Jana try new brands with confidence, with free payment terms so she can sell products, hopefully before even having to pay for them, free shipping, free and easy returns on all first orders, and low order minimum values. We help her track those orders, message brands directly, and get help on her laptop when she's at the office or in her shop, or on her phone with our app. By our very nature at Faire, we are 365 days a year and 24/7, just like Jana's business. And I have to admit, she's not the only retailer who shared with me that she shops Faire at night in bed with a cup of tea or even in the bath. We know that retailers are time poor, and as business owners, they wear many hats. That's why we focus on making their lives easier, and in particular, reducing the number of jobs that are on their to-do list. Meet the team from Mercantile, an iconic fashion retailer in Spitalfields. It's really an amazing shop that other retailers go to for inspiration. They discovered Faire in 2021 and quickly started sourcing products through us. For Deborah, Faire was a game changer. We helped her find new products, build strong supplier relationships, and find her next bestsellers. Our personalized and data-backed recommendations helped her find products that felt tailored to her. We really got her. And when she realized that lots of the suppliers she'd already been working with and had years of relationships were selling on Faire, she started buying those through us too, to simplify her day. But most importantly, Deborah found great value on Faire, and that's what keeps her coming back. It's her go-to destination for sourcing. Since we were founded in 2017, and since we launched in the UK 4 years ago, we've really been embraced by the retail community. And I'm proud to say that now over 10,000 brands in the UK and over 50,000 retailers are using Faire every day. While I'd admit it's a little bit of an age gap relationship, our 7.5 years to Spring Fair's 75 years, our partnership is now in its second year, and we've got a shared mission to grow the overall size of the pie for this industry. Our partnership brings together the very best of the offline and online worlds of wholesale, and those worlds really are made to work together. A trip to Spring Fair, like you're all experiencing now, gets you inspired. You can touch and feel products, build relationships, and catch up with friends. There is so much to soak up here. And you can shape the long-term vision for your business season after season. Faire is really the bridge between those moments, helping to crystallize connections beyond the show. We help exhibitors do business here and now, but we're also helping them connect with 10 million buyers across the world. And it's those 10 million data connections that have brought me here today and have created the Faire forecast. You can download the full report just here using the QR code, and I won't be completely offended if you do that and leave. But I do hope you stay because I've got some really cool slides coming up that I hope you'll enjoy. Chatting trends is always really fun, but I know that honestly, it can be a driving force behind your business or a bit of a dirty word in retail. So let's quickly talk through them and get our creative juices flowing, but then switch focus to some practical tips on how to make the trends right for your business. For the Faire forecast, we use the combination of research and data from external sources and millions of transactions that happen on Faire all the time. We want to identify the emerging trends that we're seeing, but also guide you to smarter buying decisions for your retailer. Honestly, we've been studying this data for years, but I'm really excited because it's the first time we've pulled it together into a beautiful report, and I really hope you find it interesting, but more importantly, useful. What we found this year is that in a fast-changing world of what feels like tough news cycles, consumers are really seeking joy from their retail experience more than ever, and we call that joy rediscovered. We're going to explore how this comes to life across 4 key themes today and see how those are being embraced by UK retailers and lots of the exhibitors at Faire. First, and one that I really love, is the trend that we call intentional detours. It's a nostalgic escape from digital saturation. Unplug, embrace simple joys, and reconnect. Intentional detours are about the journey, not the destination. Think film, Polaroids, creating new traditions with family and friends, old school games, and real-life connections. This trend is not just about disconnecting. It's about rediscovering and reconnecting with ourselves, with nature, with each other. It's about creating spaces and moments where technology doesn't get in the way. We take a moment to step back and appreciate the world. Take a deep breath of fresh air. And What I think is really interesting is how this is showing up in our data. Searches for terms like playing cards, for example, were up a whopping 250% year on year, as people seek to entertain themselves not just with their phones, but in the real world, IRL, just like we are doing here today. Now let's turn this sentiment into something tangible. These are just some ideas to get your creative juices flowing about what we're seeing a lot of demand for that really brings this trend to life. It's gorgeous picnic blankets woven from natural fibers, leather-bound, hand-stitched journals, and instant cameras for capturing unfiltered moments. Try curating collections of board games and card games, craft kits, creative escapes, and outdoor gear for spontaneous adventures. This is about making space on your shelves for items that really inspire and celebrate the magic of being unplugged. If you want to put this action in today, I love the Pachamama mittens. You can find them here in the Moda Hall, or the mushroom log growing kit from Urban Farm in Hall 4. They're also available on Faire.com. Now on to Victorian Noir. This one is not just a trend, it's kind of a movement. It's about rejecting the minimalist mantra of less is more in favor of rich, bold statements that let personalities shine through. It's really about your customer feeling like the main character. Victorian Noir has a flair for the dramatic, and it's a total rejection of Scandi minimalism. If Coco Chanel says take something off before you leave the house, Victorian Noir says, why don't you just put something else back on? This trend celebrates excess in the most roaring 20s kind of way. And it says every piece I buy is an extension of my personality. I want to stand out rather than blend in. In the data, we've seen UK retailers seem to be saying, look at me. And we've seen huge bumps in searches for mirrors and velvet, which I personally love. In our shops, Victorian Noir seems to be where antique meets avant-garde. Think about merchandising with gorgeous plush velvet cushions, ornate mirrors as statement art, or jewel-toned scarves. If you want it today, it's McGowan and Rutherford's ornate mirrors in Hall 6, or Hall 7 for candlesticks at Originals International. These are a total rejection of minimalism, bringing back the personality and the drama. It's no surprise then that on Faire, we see that Not on Amazon is our Faire buyers' top favorite used filter. Shoppers really want character rather than copy and paste style. Neutral good is our third trend, by the earth and for the earth. This trend centers around handmade, eco-friendly products that embody a commitment to both the environment and artisanal quality. We love it because consumers want to see and understand how their products are really made, who makes them, where they're made, all about that story. Neutral good shopping means we can feel good about the choices that we make. Retailers are really turning away from synthetics and moving towards natural fibers. And we see this trend emerging from searches like organic, wool, wicker, and linen, all spiking by about 75% in the last year. It's all really about artisanal and handmade finished choices here. And there are lots of good ways to bring this to life in your shop. And this is just a little bit of inspiration because you'll know what's right for you. I've seen retailers dedicate specific areas to eco-friendly products around this trend, where every product has a story, from the origins of beautiful wicker baskets to the artisans behind hand-woven woolen scarves. I really love the waffle blankets at So Cozy. I urge you to go and check them out in Hall 6. To touch and feel their products is really to love them. And it's all about keeping the materials here super tactile. We also love the activated charcoal candles from Zesty Lemons, who you can find today in Hall 4. The cool thing is, if you're selling online, of course, that you can go much deeper into the story behind your products. And you have the space to educate on craftsmanship, on supplier stories, and really communicate what makes these pieces special. And finally, my favorite of the four. Everyday Hope Core is about celebrating our inner child, infusing daily life with vibrancy and playfulness and nostalgia that sparks joy and the sense of overflowing optimism from our youth. These aren't just decorative or functional pieces, they're really portals into a time of life when everything felt simpler and perhaps we were just a little bit more playful. But this time with elevated materials that remind you that you're actually still an adult. The surge that we've seen in searches for things like neon, bows, hair clips is what really speaks to this trend. And we've also seen an increasing interest in memorabilia and stereos, with searches on Faire all on the rise, particularly in the UK. What I think is really interesting here is how it tells the story of a strong pull that consumers are feeling towards items that kind of connect us with our past. And I met a really interesting lady at our stand yesterday who told me that it was really all about gingham for her this year, which is totally part of this trend. Bringing this to life with products, Everyday Hope Core is about filling your space with joy, nostalgia, and maybe a touch of the whimsical. Curating a collection that blends retro charm with modern fun. I think of brightly coloured stationery, playful tech with a vintage flair, and accessories that really make your space feel magical. It's the 90s again, and anything is possible with this trend. We've got angelfish claw clips at Last True Angel that are in Hall 3 that I absolutely love. We're also displaying them on our Faire stand if you want to check them out. And that glass mushroom, it reminded me just a little bit of that inflated furniture that everyone had in the 80s and 90s, but just a little bit more chic in beautiful coloured glass. But identifying what trends are is one thing. As I said at the top, integrating them into your business in a way that feels natural is something else entirely. And I want to dig in a bit here to make it practical. The important thing here is starting with knowing your customer, of course, and putting them at the heart of everything you do. Which of the trends that we've just talked through speaks to them the most? They're four very distinct trends, and you shouldn't think that everything's going to be right for your business. In fact, that's completely fine if it's not. So, think about how your customers want to feel. Are they looking for adventure, nostalgia, a bit of drama? You could even experiment with a trend that captures the mood your customers want to feel as they step into your shop. What do you think is going to resonate with them? Every shop in every season also has a color story. When it comes to weaving in new trends into your shop and your space, whether that be online or offline, choosing the right colors is key. It's about ensuring they complement your palette with your best sellers and staples. If your shop leans towards a timeless, sophisticated feel, then maybe the rich tones of Victorian noir could be great for you and a perfect fit. But if your shops have a younger, more playful energy, perhaps it's those bright neon hues of everyday Hope Core that could be right for you this year. But beyond just aesthetics and trends, color in your space should communicate what your brand stands for and create a real connection with your customers and your community. So, before deciding what's right for you, take a step back and think about the story that you want your customers to go away with and how color can help you tell that story. Most importantly, and is one just not to lose sight of when you're thinking about trying a new trend in your shop, is keep an eye on your average order value. You really want to make sure that new products and brands you're testing feel accessible at the price point that your customers expect. You don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, but it's also important not to undersell yourself. You should protect and even look to stretch up if you can that average basket value. Take a good look at the pricing of products that you want to merchandise for these trends, whether you're offering premium or more value items. It really needs to feel right for you and your customers, and you know best. The start of the year is the perfect time to take a step back and map out your approach, so it's all great that we're here today. Although there's not really a wrong time to do it. Just like you should come to Spring Fair with a game plan, and I've loved seeing buyers going around with a shopping list or an iPhone note with their plan of attack. You need to approach trends with a clear strategy in mind. As I said, not every trend will suit your business. And if you're considering a new style, but something just doesn't feel right for you, trust your gut. Before jumping in, take a step back and think about your purchasing strategy, your budget, and how much risk you're comfortable with. Start by asking yourself, what do I want to achieve in 2025? Are you looking to attract a new type of customer, or are you focused on increasing the spend with your existing customers? Are you focused on growth, or is this really a year about consolidating and sustaining what you've already built? Your goals for the year will help you filter out the trends that will and won't work for you. Then, have a think about your risk tolerance. How will these products fit within your existing range? Do they complement your best sellers, or do they actually need their own dedicated merchandising space because it's a departure from what your customers usually expect from you? I know that's often influenced by things like financial security, past experiences, good and bad, and customer preferences. Sticking to tried and tested bestsellers can feel comfortable, but if your customers love newness and you already know that you can successfully test new lines, taking a calculated risk can really pay off. I always remember Priya from Lark sharing with me that post-pandemic, she had a lot more customers coming in the weekdays because they were working from home. And she actually had to start turning over her stock every 2 weeks because those customers were expecting to see something new. So it's really about identifying what's right for your business. And finally, on this one, have a think about a testing budget. Ideally, what I hear from most retailers is that they dedicate around 20% of their budget every year to allow for flexibility and newness, scaling up or down based on your risk appetite this year. You can really start small with something like this, trying a few new pieces in a small range, gauge the response, and go from there. Faire helps with this because we offer free returns on orders from brands that you are trying for the first time. And I love hearing how valuable this is to our retailer customers. Once you have a clear strategy, you need a merchandising and a marketing plan. How will you make customers aware of these new products that you're bringing into store? Unfortunately, new stock doesn't sell itself. Is it going to be about in-store merchandising, window displays, and feature tables that catch the eye and draw in attention? Or is email and social media core to your go-to-market strategy? We've seen that a simple new in campaign via email or Instagram can be super powerful. And in fact, I know on Faire, our new in pages are some of our highest converting. Be clear, though, on what your definition of success is and hold yourself accountable to those. You can define your metrics in advance by looking at quantitative data like sales cycles and average order values, but I always recommend to supplement that where you can with qualitative customer feedback. Lastly, don't be shy about testing sales and promotions. They're really not a dirty word, but do have a structured plan. Timing is key if you're unsure about new promotions. I see the best retailers trial new promotions during quieter seasons so they can look exactly what the lift is. You can also think about short-term versus long-term sales strategies for new lines. While a flash sale can really drive urgency, testing a longer promotion helps give a sense of consistent demand and value. Most importantly, definitely don't jump on trends just because others are doing it or because you've heard it from me today. The best merchandising plans balance the staples and your best sellers with newness, keeping your range fresh while staying true to who you are and not taking unnecessary risks. Of course, though, planning and buying for your retail business doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're not doing it in isolation. And it's really important to stay tuned to what's happening in the market. While I unfortunately don't have a crystal ball, and I really wish I do, I do speak with retailers every day. And with Faire now working with over 50,000 independent retailers across the UK, I have a pretty good sense of the trends that are shaping the British High Street in 2025. I thought it would be fun to close out by sharing some of my predictions. And you can find me at Autumn Fair and hold me to account on how wrong or right I was. So, I'm seeing that retailers shifting back to physical stores. Last year, I heard Dame Sharon White, the former chair of John Lewis, speak at a conference and explain that their online sales have been steadily declining since the pandemic, and it's a trend I'm seeing across the market. This is something that independent retailers need to adapt to as well. While e-commerce is certainly shaping the way we shop, it's also driving demand for personal, meaningful experiences that we can't get online. And I would say that indie retailers are better positioned to deliver that than almost anyone else. But as this footfall increases, retailers need to be prepared. Nothing frustrates shoppers more than empty shelves or missing options. Getting stock right is really crucial to capitalizing on this movement. Number two, one of the most unique things about independent retailers, and one of the reasons I love my job, is the people behind them. And in 2025, I'm predicting that we'll see more retail business owners putting themselves in front of the camera as the best influencers and ambassadors for their business. It can feel daunting. Surprisingly, the retailers that I chat with are mostly self-confessed introverts, but I've seen this put into action with great success. One of our buyers, Kate, who runs Happy and Glorious in Canterbury and has the most beautiful store, is a great example of this. She's started doing weekly Instagram lives to showcase her shop, her products, and the events that she's running in store that week. It was a big step for her, but has already had a huge impact on her customer engagement and sales. To me, indie retailers are the original influencers, so I'm excited to see how this one transpires in 2025. Number three, remote working certainly reshaped our high streets for a little while there. And I think we liked wearing our pajama bottoms on Zoom and putting that extra load of washing on when we worked from home. But things are changing. Major employees like Amazon, PwC, Asda, and Santander are enforcing more office-based working. And this shift means that retailers that have benefited from weekday shoppers will probably need to adapt. For some, weekend footfall will become more important, and for others, you may need to adjust opening hours to accommodate commuters. Understanding these changing patterns and responding proactively will be key to maintaining sales this year. I wouldn't be a person working in tech if I didn't mention these two letters, AI. And over the past year, I've seen indie retailers really embrace AI-powered tools to save time, work smarter, and ultimately compete with larger retailers. Many of those are now using GPT to write marketing emails, optimize product listings, and refine merchandising strategies. Shopify, Klaviyo, Canva, and our team at Faire are all focused on how we can drive this change and get that tech into the hands of small business owners. These tools are all giving independent retailers many of the same advantages that big businesses used to have. And I'm betting we'll see even more innovation this year, which is super exciting. Finally, community-led retail will rule in 2025. Independent retailers are tapping into the power of their communities to drive awareness and customer loyalty. I love one of our customers, Laura from the Fond Shop in Lim, who has amazing creativity, and I recommend you follow her on Instagram. She organized a Christmas treasure hunt on her high street, of course, with plenty of stops at her shop to drive footfall, and saw the impact on her sales directly through December. The Pryor shop in Bristol, which is another iconic independent retailer, launched a heartfelt campaign urging customers to vote with their wallets and keep local businesses like theirs thriving. And it's those type of initiatives that resonate with shoppers who want to protect the vibrancy of their local communities. So this year, I expect and really hope that we'll see retailers working together, engaging their communities and finding creative ways to encourage people to shop locally. When independent businesses can succeed, the entire community succeeds. So, if you are a retailer and you liked any of what you've just heard today, now is the perfect time to join Faire or place your first order if you've already signed up. Signing up is free and it only takes a few minutes. You can either use the QR code here if you're ready to go, And when you sign up to Faire.com, you can take advantage of our exclusive Spring Faire partnership offer, which will give you 50% off your first order and free shipping with the code SPRINGFAIR. But as I mentioned at the top, if you've got questions and need some help to get started, we've also got Nick here at the back of the crowd. He's very tall and he's waving at you. So please do go over to him and ask questions if you have them after the session. Or, of course, you can ask me. And with that, I think I'd love to open it up for questions, perhaps about the forecast or about Faire or in general what I'm seeing on the high street. Thank you.